Hello there. I'm so glad you've joined us tonight. Perhaps the world felt a bit too loud today, or perhaps you're simply seeking a quiet space where the mind can wander without the weight of worry. Here, we don't look for quick answers. We look toward the horizon of the unknown. Tonight, we begin a long, gentle descent into the shadows of our understanding, exploring the deep enigmas that keep the greatest minds on Earth awake. As you settle into your blankets, let your breath find its own natural, easy rhythm. You are safe, you are still, and you are about to embark on a journey through 100 mysteries that science cannot yet explain. We will take them 10 at a time, drifting through the fog of the unexplained until the morning light returns. If these quiet explorations help you find peace, consider subscribing to the channel. It helps our community of sleepy souls grow, one dream at a time. Now, let us begin our first 10 mysteries. The Great Attractor, an invisible gravity. Deep in intergalactic space, something is pulling us. Our galaxy, and thousands of others nearby, are being hauled toward a specific point in the universe at a staggering speed of 600 kilometers per second. This point is known as the Great Attractor. The mystery lies in the fact that this region is obscured by the zone of avoidance, the thick dust and gas of our own Milky Way's disk. Even with X-ray and infrared technology, we cannot see exactly what is there. It is a mass so colossal that it defies our current mapping of matter. A silent, invisible shepherd pulling entire civilizations of stars into the dark unknown. The wow signal, a single cosmic shout. On a quiet night in 1977, a radio telescope at Ohio State University intercepted a 72-second blast of radio noise so powerful and so specific that the astronomer reviewing the data circled it and wrote, "Wow," in the margin. The signal came from the direction of the constellation Sagittarius and bore all the hallmarks of an artificial, extraterrestrial origin. It wasn't a natural pulsing of a star or a planet. Yet, despite decades of searching that exact patch of sky with more powerful tools, the signal has never returned. Was it a passing ship, a celestial fluke, or a hello we simply weren't ready to answer? The hum, a worldwide vibration. In various corners of the globe, from Taos, New Mexico, to Bristol, England, people report a persistent, low-frequency hum. It sounds like a distant diesel engine idling just out of sight. Only about 2% of the population can hear it, but for those who do, it is a maddening, relentless thrum. Scientists have ruled out traffic, industrial noise, and even tinnitus. Some believe it could be the microseisms of ocean waves hitting the seafloor, while others suggest it is the result of strange electromagnetic phenomena. To this day, the source of the Earth's low-frequency groan remains a phantom. The Voynich manuscript, a book with no key. For centuries, a vellum book filled with strange plants, zodiac symbols, and bathing women has baffled the world's greatest codebreakers. Written in an elegant, looping script that exists nowhere else in history, the Voynich manuscript has been carbon dated to the early 15th century. Is it a lost language of a forgotten culture? A sophisticated 500-year-old hoax? Or a coded botanical manual for a world that never was? Despite modern AI and cryptographers who cracked the Enigma code, the book remains a silent sentinel, its secrets locked in a language that may never have been meant for us to read. Dark matter, the invisible glue. When we look at the stars, we are seeing only a tiny fraction of what is actually there. Observations show that galaxies are spinning so fast that they should fly apart, scattered like dust in the wind. Something invisible must be providing the extra gravity to hold them together. We call it dark matter. It does not emit light, it does not reflect it, and it does not block it. It passes through your body and the Earth itself like a ghost. We know it accounts for roughly 85% of all matter in the universe, yet we have no idea what it is actually made of. The bloop, a giant from the deep, In 1997, underwater microphones placed by the NOAA picked up one of the loudest sounds ever recorded. It was an ultra-low frequency sound that rose in pitch for about a minute and was heard by sensors over 5,000 kilometers apart. It had the organic signature of a living creature, but it was far louder than any blue whale or known sea monster. While scientists later suggested it might be the sound of a massive Antarctic icequake, many still wonder if something much larger and older than we can imagine is drifting in the unmapped trenches of our oceans. The placebo effect, the mind's hidden pharmacy. Science is built on the idea that medicine must be chemical to work. Yet, the placebo effect remains one of the most persistent mysteries of human biology. If you tell a person a sugar pill is a powerful painkiller, their brain often begins producing its own actual opioids to kill the pain. The body can heal its own inflammation or alter its heart rate simply because the mind believes it should. Why evolution gave us a built-in pharmacy that we can only access by being tricked is a question that challenges the very foundations of modern medicine. KIC 8462852, the star that shouldn't dim. Commonly known as Tabby's star, this celestial body exhibits a behavior that defies logic. Stars typically dim when a planet passes in front of them, but Tabby's star dims erratically, sometimes losing up to 22% of its brightness in strange, non-repeating patterns. It isn't a planet, and it isn't a cloud of dust. Some astronomers have cautiously whispered the possibility of a Dyson swarm, a massive structure built by a distant civilization to harvest the star's energy. Whatever the cause, it remains the most mysterious light curve ever recorded in our sky. The Cambrian explosion, life's sudden rush. For billions of years, life on Earth was simple, microscopic, and slow. Then, about 541 million years ago, in a geological blink of an eye, almost every major animal group we know today appeared in the fossil record. This is the Cambrian explosion. It's as if the code for complex life was suddenly turned on all at once. Darwin himself was troubled by it, as it seemed to contradict the slow, gradual process of evolution. We still don't know what sparked this sudden, violent burst of biological creativity. The loneliness of the neutrino. Every second, trillions of neutrinos pass through your fingernail. They are subatomic particles that have almost no mass and travel at nearly the speed of light. For decades, we thought they had no mass at all. Then we discovered they do, but they oscillate, changing their identity between 3 different flavors as they travel. They are the ghost particles of the universe, produced in the hearts of stars, yet they rarely interact with anything. Why they exist and how they manage to change their very nature while flying through the void is a puzzle at the heart of quantum physics. Moving deeper into the fog of the unexplained, we find ourselves at the edge of the world we think we know. As the night grows darker, let these thoughts wash over you, not as problems to be solved, but as the quiet poetry of a universe that still holds its breath. Here are the next 10 mysteries. The oarfish and the earthquake legend. In Japanese folklore, the giant oarfish is known as the messenger from the sea god's palace, appearing on beaches just before a major earthquake strikes. For centuries, this was dismissed as mere superstition. However, in the months leading up to the 2011 Fukushima earthquake, dozens of these rare, deep-sea creatures washed ashore. While some scientists suggest that changes in electromagnetic activity or shifts in the Earth's crust might disturb these bottom dwellers, a definitive link has never been proven. The oarfish remains a shimmering, silver enigma, a creature from the abyss that may or may not be carrying a warning from the deep. The missing antimatter. According to the laws of physics, the Big Bang should have produced equal amounts of matter and antimatter. When these two meet, they annihilate each other in a burst of pure energy. If the scales had been perfectly balanced, the universe would be empty, nothing but light. And yet, here we are. The stars, the planets, and our own bodies are made of matter. This implies that for every billion particles of antimatter, there was one extra particle of matter that survived the Great Annihilation. Science cannot explain why this tiny asymmetry exists or where the rest of the antimatter went. We are the survivors of a cosmic coin flip that should have never happened. The Sailing Stones of Death Valley. In a remote dry lake bed in California, massive rocks, some weighing hundreds of pounds, travel across the desert floor, leaving long, winding trails behind them. For decades, no one saw them move. Some trails were straight, while others curved or turned at sharp angles. While recent research suggests a rare combination of thin ice sheets and light winds might push them, the synchronized movement of these stones remains a haunting sight. They are heavy, silent travelers in a landscape where time seems to move differently, creeping across the clay when no human eye is there to watch. The Tully Monster. Fossilized in the coal mines of Illinois is a creature so bizarre it defies classification. The Tullimonstrum or Tully Monster had a torpedo-shaped body, eyes on the ends of long stalks, and a long, thin snout ending in a toothy claw. It lived 300 million years ago, but it looks like nothing else in the history of life on Earth. Scientists cannot decide if it was a vertebrate like a fish or an invertebrate like a slug. It is a biological orphan, a strange experiment in form that appeared, thrived, and vanished, leaving us with a shape that feels like it belongs in a dream rather than the fossil record. Ball lightning. For centuries, people have reported seeing glowing, spherical orbs of light during thunderstorms. These spheres, ranging from the size of a pea to several meters in diameter, float through the air, pass through closed windows, and sometimes vanish with a loud bang. Unlike normal lightning, which lasts for a fraction of a second, ball lightning can persist for many seconds or even minutes. Because it is so rare and unpredictable, it has been nearly impossible to study in a lab. It remains a ghost of the atmosphere, a luminous, drifting bubble of energy that science can describe but cannot truly explain. The Green Children of Woolpit. In the 12th century, according to medieval chronicles, two children, a brother and a sister, appeared in the village of Woolpit in England. Their skin was an unmistakable shade of green. They spoke a language no one recognized, and they would only eat raw, broad beans. Eventually, their skin lost its green tint and they learned English, claiming they came from a sunless land of St. Martin, where everything was green. Historians have proposed many theories, from arsenic poisoning to a lost group of Flemish immigrants, but the story of the Green Children remains one of the most enduring and unsettling folktales of the ancient world. The Fermi Paradox. The Great Silence. Mathematical models like the Drake equation suggest that our galaxy should be teeming with millions of civilizations. Given the age of the universe, many of these should have developed interstellar travel and visited Earth by now. And yet, when we look at the stars, we see nothing but silence. This is the Fermi Paradox. If life is common, where is everybody? Are we the first? Are we the last? Or is there a great filter? A hurdle so difficult that no civilization can pass it without destroying itself? The silence of the universe is perhaps the loudest mystery we face. The star jelly. Throughout history, people have reported finding translucent, gelatinous masses on the grass following meteor showers. Known as star jelly or astral jelly, this substance is said to evaporate shortly after being touched or found. Laboratory tests on samples have often been inconclusive, sometimes finding DNA from frogs or birds, and other times finding nothing at all. While some dismiss it as animal remains or slime mold, the persistent connection to falling stars in folklore across the globe suggests a phenomenon that slips through the fingers of modern biology. The WOW signal sibling, SHGB02 plus 14A. While the WOW signal is famous, Another radio source discovered in 2003 is equally perplexing. Labeled SHGB02+14A, this signal was detected 3 separate times at a frequency of 1420 MHz, the frequency at which hydrogen, the most common element in the universe, absorbs and emits energy. It originates from a region of space where there are no stars for hundreds of light years. The signal is very weak, and its frequency drifts in a way that suggests it's coming from a rapidly rotating source. It is a faint, rhythmic pulse from the emptiness, a lonely beacon in the void. The origin of the moon. The moon is far too large for a planet of Earth's size. Most moons are small captured asteroids, but our moon is a titan. The leading theory is that a Mars-sized body named Theia slammed into the early Earth, and the resulting debris formed the moon. However, chemical analysis shows that the moon and Earth are almost identical in composition, like twins. If Theia had hit Earth, the moon should be made of a mix of both bodies. How the moon became such a perfect mirror of our own world's chemistry remains a fundamental puzzle of our planetary history. As the night grows deeper, the boundaries of the known world continue to soften. There is a comfort in realizing that even after centuries of study, our world remains thick with secrets, whispers from the earth and sky that we have yet to translate. Let your mind drift like a feather on a slow current as we explore the next 10 mysteries. The Devil's Footprints. In the winter of 1855, the people of Devon, England, woke to find a trail of hoof-like marks in the deep snow. These weren't the tracks of a stray animal. They were cloven, nearly 4 inches long, and marched in a single file for over 100 miles. Most unsettlingly, the tracks didn't stop for obstacles. They climbed over high walls, crossed frozen rooftops, and entered and exited narrow drainage pipes as if the walker were unburdened by gravity. To this day, no animal, not a leaping mouse or a stray donkey, has been found that could leave a single file, bipedal trail across such a vast and varied landscape in a single night. The everlasting lightning of Catatumbo. In a specific corner of Venezuela, where the Catatumbo River meets Lake Maracaibo, the sky is almost never dark. For up to 300 nights a year, lightning strikes the water up to 28 times per minute. This beacon of Maracaibo has burned for centuries, so bright it was used by colonial sailors as a natural lighthouse. What makes it a mystery is its sheer persistence and localized nature. While theories point to the swamp's methane gas or the clash of mountain winds, no other place on Earth experiences such a relentless, eternal storm. It is a silent, flickering dance of electricity that seems to draw its power from a source the world has yet to map. The Naga fireballs. Every year in late October, thousands of people gather along the Mekong River in Thailand to witness a phenomenon that defies the laws of chemistry. Glowing, reddish orbs the size of basketballs rise silently from the water, drifting hundreds of feet into the air before vanishing. Local tradition says they are the breath of a great serpent, the Naga, rising from the riverbed. Skeptics suggest fermenting gas at the bottom of the river, but gas bubbles rarely ignite spontaneously upon hitting the air, nor do they travel in such a perfectly vertical, controlled flight. They remain a luminous riddle, rising from the muddy depths into the night sky, the map of the Creator. Deep in the Ural Mountains lies a massive stone slab known as the Dashka Stone. What makes it haunting is the 3D relief map carved into its surface. It depicts the Ural region with startling precision, but there is a catch. It shows a series of colossal civil engineering projects, giant dams, canals, and systems that don't exist today. Carbon dating is difficult on stone, but the shells embedded in the slab suggest it could be millions of years old. If it truly is a map, it implies that someone was surveying the Earth from a great height long before the first human picked up a tool. the loneliest whale in the world. For decades, marine biologists have tracked a single whale wandering the North Pacific. They call him 52 Blue. While most blue whales communicate at a frequency between 10 and 39 hertz, this individual sings at exactly 52 hertz, a pitch so high that no other whale can hear or understand him. He follows a migration path unlike any other known species, singing his heart out into the vast, cold emptiness, but never receiving an answer. We don't know if he is a hybrid, the last of a lost species, or a biological anomaly. He is a wanderer in a world of silence, a mystery of the deep defined by a song that travels forever alone. The Taos hum. In the small town of Taos, New Mexico, a segment of the population is plagued by a sound that no microphone can catch. It is described as a low-level, distant moan, similar to a heavy truck idling just over the hill. While many hums around the world have been traced to industrial fans or seismic activity, the Taos hum is different. It seems to be subjective. Some hear it clearly, while others standing right next to them hear nothing but the wind. Some believe it's an effect of the way certain brains process low-frequency radio waves, but for those who live with it, it is a physical, undeniable presence that makes the very air feel heavy. The Hessdalen Lights. In a quiet valley in rural Norway, the air itself seems to catch fire. Since the 1940s, observers have reported strange, glowing orbs of white, yellow, and red light that hover, dart, and sometimes split into two. Unlike many UFO sightings, the Hessdalen Lights have been caught on film and tracked by radar multiple times. Scientists have set up permanent observatories there, but the source remains elusive. Some suggest the valley acts as a giant natural battery due to the specific mineral deposits in the mountains, but the intelligent-looking movement of the lights continues to baffle those who watch them. The Atacama Skeleton. In the Atacama Desert, a 6-inch-long skeleton was found with a pointed skull and 10 ribs instead of the human 12. At first glance, it looked like a miniature alien, but DNA testing confirmed it was human. However, the mystery didn't end there. Bone analysis showed that despite being only 6 inches long, the individual had the bone density and development of a 6 to 8-year-old child. How a human could grow to school age while remaining the size of a sparrow is a medical anomaly that challenges everything we know about human growth and survival. The Eltonin Enigma. In 1964, a research vessel took a photograph of the ocean floor, 13,000 feet beneath the surface near Antarctica. In the pitch-black mud, it captured a perfectly symmetrical, antenna-like structure with nodes and spokes radiating out in a geometric pattern. Some suggested it was an ancient piece of technology or a marker left by someone from above. Biologists later identified it as a rare species of carnivorous sponge, but the Eltonin antenna still holds a place in the unknown because of its uncanny, mechanical appearance in a world where life is supposed to be soft and organic. The dark flow. Beyond the edge of the observable universe, something massive is tugging on us. Astronomers have observed that large clusters of galaxies are all drifting in a uniform direction toward a specific patch of sky between the constellations of Centaurus and Hydra. This isn't caused by any visible matter. It suggests that there is something outside the bubble of our universe, perhaps another universe entirely, that is so massive its gravity is reaching across the void to pull us toward it. We are like leaves on a pond, being drawn toward a waterfall we cannot see. As we move further into the quiet hours of the night, the world outside your window seems to grow still, yet the universe remains busy with things we cannot name. There is a strange peace in the unexplained, a reminder that despite our maps and our clocks, there are still places where the wild and the mysterious remain untouched. Let your mind rest as we drift into the next 10 enigmas. The Zone of Silence. In a remote patch of the Mapamay Desert in Mexico, there is a place where the air itself seems to swallow signals. In this Mapami silent zone, radio waves dissipate, compasses spin wildly out of control, and television signals cannot penetrate. The area gained international notoriety in the 1970s when a U.S. missile went off course and crashed directly into the heart of the zone. Scientists have noted that the area has an unusually high concentration of magnetite and is frequently struck by meteorites. But why this specific patch of Earth acts as a black hole for human communication remains a whispered secret of the desert sands. The Phaistos disk. In the ruins of a Minoan palace on the island of Crete, archaeologists discovered a small fired clay disk covered on both sides with a spiral of strange symbols. There are 241 tokens in total, depicting everything from feathered heads and lions to papyrus plants and shields. Unlike other ancient scripts, these symbols were printed into the clay using stamps, making it the oldest known example of typography in history. Yet, no other example of this script has ever been found. It is a lonely message from the Bronze Age, a poem or a prayer whose meaning died with the civilization that stamped it. The Panxian Cave Mystery. High in the mountains of southern China, researchers found a series of caves containing the remains of large prehistoric animals, specifically rhinoceroses and stegodons, ancient relatives of the elephant. The mystery is not that they were there, but how they got there. These caves are located 1,600 meters above sea level, far from the lowland plains where these heavy, lumbering animals lived. There is no evidence of water currents carrying the bodies in, and the cave entrances were far too small for such massive creatures to enter. It is as if these giants simply materialized in the dark, far above the world where they belonged. The Oak Island Money Pit. On a small island off the coast of Nova Scotia, there is a hole in the ground that has defied treasure hunters for over 2 centuries. Known as the Money Pit, it was discovered in 1795 and appears to be a sophisticated piece of ancient engineering. Every time someone digs deep enough, the pit floods with seawater through a series of complex, man-made booby trap channels connected to the ocean. People have found layers of coconut fiber, charcoal, and even a stone tablet with a mysterious cipher, but the treasure at the bottom, if it exists, remains protected by an invisible hand of water and ingenuity. The longevity of the jellyfish Turritopsis dohrnii. In the warm waters of the Mediterranean, there is a tiny creature that has achieved what humans have dreamt of for millennia: biological immortality. When the Turritopsis dohrnii jellyfish is injured or faces starvation, it does not die. Instead, it undergoes a process called transdifferentiation, where its cells revert back to their earliest state, turning the adult jellyfish back into a polyp or a baby colony. It can repeat this cycle indefinitely, effectively living forever unless eaten by a predator. Science can observe the process, but the genetic reset button that allows a complex organism to travel backward in time remains a biological miracle we cannot replicate. The moving statues of Easter Island. The Rapa Nui people carved nearly 1,000 massive stone statues, or moai, some weighing up to 80 tons. For years, the mystery was how a civilization without wheels or large animals moved these giants miles from the quarry across rugged volcanic terrain. Local oral tradition always maintained that the statues walked to their destinations. Recently, researchers showed that with a specific rhythm of ropes and tilting, the statues can be made to rock back and forth, moving forward in a walking motion. However, the sheer precision required to move them over steep hills without toppling them suggests a level of mastery over gravity and stone that feels almost supernatural. The Antikythera mechanism. In 1901, divers exploring a shipwreck off the coast of Greece found a corroded green lump of bronze. When X-rayed decades later, it was revealed to be a complex clockwork mechanism with over 30 gear wheels. A computer from the 2nd century BC. It was designed to predict astronomical positions, eclipses, and even the cycle of the Olympic Games. The mystery is that the technology required to build such a device vanished from the historical record shortly after, not reappearing for another 1,500 years with the invention of the mechanical clock. It is a time traveler of technology, a masterpiece of math that existed before its time. The Klerksdorp spheres. In South Africa, miners have spent decades pulling mysterious metal spheres from deep within pyrophyllite deposits. These small, round objects often have 3 parallel grooves etched around their equators. Geologists argue they are concretions, natural formations of minerals. However, the spheres are so balanced and the grooves so precise that many wonder if they were crafted. The problem? The rock they are embedded in is roughly 3 billion years old, a time when the only life on Earth was single-celled bacteria. They are objects that, by all accounts of history, should not exist. The skyquakes. In places like the shores of the Ganges or the coast of North Carolina, people report hearing massive, thunderous booms coming from a perfectly clear sky. They sound like heavy artillery or sonic booms, but there are no planes in the air and no tectonic activity in the ground. Known as Seneca guns or mist puffers, these skyquakes have been documented for centuries. Some scientists suggest they are caused by gas escaping from underwater vents or distant meteors exploding in the upper atmosphere, but the source remains unseen. A sudden, violent shout from the heavens that leaves no trace. The double-slit experiment, the mystery of the observer. At the very heart of quantum physics lies an experiment that suggests reality itself changes when we look at it. When scientists fire electrons through 2 slits, the particles act like waves of energy. But the moment a device is placed to watch which slit the electron goes through, the electron stops acting like a wave and starts acting like a solid little ball. It's as if the particle knows it is being watched and chooses a path. This implies that the observer is not just watching the universe, but participating in creating it. Why consciousness affects the fabric of matter is the deepest mystery of our existence. As the world outside falls into a deeper slumber, the air seems to grow thin with the weight of things left unsaid. We have traveled through the stars and into the deep trenches of the ocean, but the further we go, the more we realize that the universe is not just stranger than we imagine. It is stranger than we can imagine. Let your body feel heavy and your mind feel light as we drift into the next 10 mysteries. The Marfa Lights. In the high desert plains of West Texas, near the town of Marfa, mysterious orbs of light appear on the horizon, dancing in the darkness. They change colors from yellow to red to blue, sometimes splitting into 2 or merging back into 1. They hover, dart, and vanish with a speed that defies the laws of physics. For over a century, ranchers and travelers have watched them. While some suggest they are reflections of car headlights or campfires distorted by atmospheric mirages, the lights were documented long before cars ever arrived in the region. They are the desert's quiet ghosts, flickering in a void where the earth meets the sky. The Min Min lights. Similar to the lights of Texas, the Australian outback is home to the Min Min lights. Aboriginal tradition tells of these glowing balls following travelers for long distances, sometimes appearing right behind a vehicle or horse. Unlike static reflections, these lights seem to possess a strange, inquisitive behavior. Scientists have theorized Fata Morgana mirages, where light from a distant source is bent over the horizon, but those who have seen them describe a presence that feels almost sentient. They are a luminous folklore made real, a light that follows but never catches, leading the way into the deep bush. The wow signal's persistent echo. Decades after the original wow signal, astronomers detected a series of fast radio bursts, FRBs, from a galaxy 3 billion light-years away. These are intense pulses of radio energy that last only a few milliseconds but release as much energy as the sun does in a year. The mystery is that some of these signals repeat in a predictable, rhythmic pattern. Natural phenomena like black holes or collapsing stars usually happen once and then go silent. A repeating, rhythmic pulse suggests a source that is being controlled, a heartbeat from the deep cosmos that suggests we are listening to a conversation we don't yet understand. The dancing plague of 1518. In the summer of 1518, a woman in Strasbourg began to dance fervently in the street. She didn't stop for days. Within a month, hundreds of people had joined her, dancing until they collapsed from exhaustion or suffered heart attacks. There was no music, no celebration, only a grim, unstoppable compulsion to move. Doctors at the time blamed hot blood, and modern theories suggest ergot poisoning from moldy rye or a mass psychogenic illness. But why it happened so suddenly, and why it took such a specific rhythmic form, remains a chilling mystery of the human mind's ability to lose control of itself. The Great Blue Hole of Belize. From high above, it looks like a perfect, dark indigo circle in the middle of a turquoise sea. The Great Blue Hole is a massive underwater sinkhole, over 300 meters across and 125 meters deep. When divers explored its depths, they found something that shouldn't be there: massive stalactites hanging from the ceilings of submerged caves. These formations can only grow in dry air, meaning this vast abyss was once a dry cavern. The mystery lies in the silence of its bottom, a layer of toxic hydrogen sulfide where no oxygen exists, preserving the remains of creatures and ancient trees in a tomb of blue water. The Voynich manuscript's botanical ghosts. Inside the Voynich manuscript are detailed drawings of over 100 different plant species. The mystery is that while the drawings are incredibly precise, showing roots, leaves, and flowers, almost none of them correspond to any known plant on Earth. They look like hybrids, the leaves of one species attached to the flowers of another. Some suggest they represent extinct plants or flora from a distant land, while others believe the author was hallucinating or creating a deliberate cipher of nature. They are the ghosts of a garden that exists only in the pages of a book no one can read. The Piri Reis map. In 1929, a map was found in a Turkish palace that had been painted on gazelle skin in 1513, created by the Admiral Piri Reis. The map shows the western coast of Africa, the eastern coast of South America, and most puzzlingly, the northern coast of Antarctica. The mystery is that the map depicts the Antarctic coastline as it looks without ice, a state it hasn't been in for at least 6,000 years. How a 16th century mapmaker could know the subglacial topography of a continent that hadn't even been officially discovered yet is a riddle that suggests a much older, lost era of global exploration. The coldest place in the universe. We often look to the stars for heat, but the Boomerang Nebula is the coldest natural place ever discovered. It is a cloud of gas and dust dying at a temperature of -272 degrees Celsius, just 1 degree above absolute zero. It is colder than the background ring of the Big Bang itself. Scientists believe the nebula is cooling itself down through a process of rapid expansion, acting like a cosmic refrigerator. But the sheer efficiency of this cooling defies our current models of how stars die. It is a frozen heart in the middle of a burning universe, a place where time and motion nearly stand still. The mystery of the first word. Every culture on Earth has a language, and almost all languages can be traced back to families. But if you go back far enough, you reach a wall. Did all humans once speak a single original proto-world language? Or did language spring up simultaneously in different places like a blooming flower? We have found no fossil of speech. Some linguists believe that certain sounds, like ma for mother, are universal because they are the easiest for human infants to make. But the jump from simple sounds to the complex poetry of a language remains a leap of evolution that science cannot track. the human aura and Kirlian photography. In 1939, a Russian technician named Semyon Kirlian discovered that if an object on a photographic plate is connected to a high-voltage source, an image of a glowing aura appears around it. When a living leaf is photographed, it shows a vibrant corona of light. Most strangely, if a piece of the leaf is cut away, the photograph sometimes still shows the glowing outline of the missing part, known as the phantom leaf effect. While skeptics point to moisture and electricity, the visual evidence of a blueprint of life that exists beyond the physical body remains a haunting image of what we might be made of. As the stillness of the night deepens, the familiar world seems to retreat, leaving only the soft glow of the unknown. We are beginning to see that the more we learn, the more the universe reveals its hidden layers, like a story that adds a new chapter every time you think you've reached the end. Let the weight of your body sink into the bed as we explore the next 10 mysteries. The Singing Pillars of Vithala. In the ancient city of Hampi, India, stands the Vithala Temple, a masterpiece of 16th century architecture. Within its halls are 56 musical pillars, carved entirely out of solid granite. When tapped gently with the thumb or a small piece of wood, each pillar emits a distinct, clear musical note, mimicking the sounds of bells, drums, and stringed instruments. The mystery lies in their construction. The pillars are not hollow, and there are no hidden resonators. Geologists and engineers have studied the stone's density and mineral content, but we still cannot fully explain how ancient builders tuned solid rock to such precise frequencies, creating a lithophone that has sung for 500 years. The long-delayed echoes. In 1927, a Norwegian researcher and a Dutch engineer discovered something impossible in the world of radio. When they sent out a signal, they received an echo back, not seconds later, but up to 15 seconds later. Radio waves travel at the speed of light. A 15-second delay would mean the signal traveled millions of kilometers into space and back. These long-delayed echoes, LDEs, have been recorded sporadically ever since. While some suggest they are caused by plasma clouds in the Earth's upper atmosphere, others have proposed the Bracewell probe hypothesis, the idea that an automated alien probe is orbiting our planet, catching our signals and retransmitting them to get our attention. The Great Unconformity. If you look at the rock walls of the Grand Canyon, you can see the history of the Earth written in layers. But there is a massive gap in the record. In a phenomenon called the Great Unconformity, there is a boundary where 500-million-year-old rock sits directly on top of rock that is 1.5 billion years old. Over 1 billion years of Earth's history, a quarter of our planet's life has simply vanished. Where did the rock go? Some geologists believe that during a period called Snowball Earth, massive glaciers scoured the continents clean, grinding 1 billion years of geological evidence into dust and washing it into the sea. Yet, the sheer scale of the erasure remains a haunting missing chapter in our planet's biography. The Solway Firth spaceman. In 1964, a man took a photograph of his daughter on a grassy hill in England. When the film was developed, a figure appeared behind the girl, standing in the background. It looked exactly like a modern astronaut, wearing a white suit and a dark visor. The photographer insisted no one else was present that day, and Kodak technicians confirmed the film hadn't been tampered with. Some suggest it was simply the girl's mother with her back to the camera, blurred by the light, but the spaceman appears to have proportions and a helmet-like structure that shouldn't exist in a simple photographic trick. It remains a strange, accidental capture of a figure who didn't belong in that time or place. The underwater ruins of Yanaguni. Off the coast of the Ryukyu Islands in Japan lies a massive submerged structure that looks like a stepped pyramid. It features flat surfaces, sharp 90-degree angles, and what look like staircases and pillars. If it is man-made, it would have to be over 10,000 years old, dating back to a time when the area was above sea level, long before such advanced architecture was thought to exist. While some geologists argue that the specific fracturing of sandstone can create such geometric shapes naturally, the presence of what look like drainage channels and animal carvings suggests that a forgotten civilization may be resting beneath the waves. The body's internal compass. Birds, sea turtles, and bees navigate using the Earth's magnetic field, a sense called magnetoreception. For a long time, it was thought that humans lacked this ability entirely. However, recent studies have found that human brains contain tiny crystals of magnetite, and brainwave tests show that our subconscious mind reacts to shifts in magnetic fields. We have the hardware for a compass built into our cells, yet we don't consciously feel the pull of the North Pole. Why we possess a sensory organ that we cannot consciously use is a biological riddle, suggesting our ancestors or our future selves might have a way of seeing the invisible lines of the world. The Mel's Hole Enigma. In the late 1990s, a man named Mel Waters called a radio show to describe a bottomless pit on his property in Washington state. He claimed he had lowered miles of fishing line into it without ever hitting the bottom. Most strangely, he claimed that when a neighbor threw the body of a deceased dog into the hole, the dog allegedly reappeared later, alive and well, wandering the woods. While no one has been able to find the exact location of Mel's Hole on modern maps, the story persists as a modern piece of folklore. A hole in the earth that may not lead to the center of the planet, but to somewhere else entirely. The synchronized fireflies. In a few rare places on Earth, such as the Great Smoky Mountains, thousands of fireflies gather in the trees and do something that defies individual biology. They all flash at the exact same time. One moment the forest is pitch black, and the next, every leaf is illuminated in a perfect, unified pulse of light. There is no leader and no signal. Mathematical models suggest they are coupled oscillators, similar to how individual heart cells beat in unison. But the evolutionary reason for why thousands of insects would choose to reveal their location to predators in one giant, blinding strobe light remains a beautiful, glowing mystery. The Nazca Lines. In the high deserts of Peru, massive geoglyphs of spiders, monkeys, and hummingbirds are etched into the earth. Some are over 300 meters long. These shapes are only recognizable from high in the air, yet they were created 1,500 years ago by a culture that had no way to fly. While we know how they made them, by removing the dark top layer of pebbles to reveal the lighter sand beneath, we don't know why. Were they giant paths for a walking ritual? Were they meant to be seen by gods in the sky? Or were they a vast astronomical calendar? The desert keeps its secrets, offering these giant symbols to a sky that rarely answers. The paradox of time travel. According to Einstein's theory of relativity, time is flexible. We know that as you travel faster, time slows down for you. If you could travel at the speed of light, time would effectively stop. This means that mathematically, traveling into the future is possible. However, traveling into the past creates the grandfather paradox. If you went back and stopped your grandfather from meeting your grandmother, you would never be born and therefore could never go back in time. The mystery is whether the universe has a censorship mechanism that prevents these loops, or if every time we make a choice, the universe splits into a new parallel reality. As the night air settles into a deep, rhythmic stillness, we find ourselves drifting further from the shore of the certain. We have looked at the stones that walk and the stars that dim, but now we turn our gaze toward the strange intersections of the human spirit and the physical world. Those moments where reality seems to bend under the weight of the unexplained. Let your breathing slow, and let the darkness of the room feel like a soft, protective embrace as we explore the next 10 mysteries. The mystery of the Ice Woman. In the winter of 1980, a young woman named Jean Hilliard was found frozen solid in the sub-zero temperatures of Minnesota. Her car had stalled, and she had tried to walk for help before collapsing in the snow. When she was discovered the next morning, her skin was too hard to pierce with a hypodermic needle, and her body temperature was too low to register on a thermometer. She was, by every medical definition, a block of ice. Yet, as she slowly thawed in the hospital, her heart began to faintly beat. Within hours, she was awake and talking, eventually making a full recovery with no permanent damage. Science cannot explain how human cells, which usually rupture and die when frozen, remained intact and functional in such a crystalline state. The Condon Report and the unexplained 5%. In the late 1960s, the University of Colorado conducted a massive government-funded study into unidentified flying objects. The final document, known as the Condon Report, famously concluded that most sightings were misidentified weather balloons or stars. However, buried within the thousands of pages were dozens of cases, roughly 5% of the total, that the researchers admitted they could not explain with any known science. These cases involved multiple credible witnesses, radar confirmation, and physical maneuvers that defied the laws of inertia. To this day, that unexplained 5% remains a silent crack in the wall of official certainty, a reminder that something is moving in our skies that doesn't follow our rules. The Baghdad Battery. In the basement of the National Museum of Iraq, researchers found a set of clay jars dating back to the Parthian or Sassanid periods. Inside each jar was a copper cylinder and an iron rod. When filled with an acidic liquid like vinegar or lemon juice, these jars produce a small electric current. They are, in every sense, primitive batteries created over 2,000 years ago. The mystery is not just how they knew the principles of electrochemistry so early, but what they used them for. There are no ancient light bulbs or wires. Some suggest they were used for electroplating jewelry, while others think they were hidden insight statues to give divine electric shocks to the uninitiated. The spontaneous human combustion enigma. Throughout history, there have been rare, unsettling reports of individuals being consumed by fire with no apparent external source of ignition. In these cases, the body is often reduced to ash, yet the furniture or clothing immediately surrounding them remains untouched. Unlike a typical house fire, which requires immense heat to incinerate bone, these events seem to burn from the inside out. Scientists have proposed the wick effect, where body fat acts as fuel, but the speed and localized intensity of these fires remain a terrifying anomaly that defies our understanding of how the human body interacts with thermal energy. The Gobi Desert's Mongolian death worm. Nomads of the Gobi Desert have long told stories of the Algoi Korkoi, a thick, red, worm-like creature that lives beneath the shifting sands. They claim it can kill from a distance, either by spraying a potent acid or by delivering a massive electric shock. While Western scientists have searched for the creature for decades without finding a specimen, the descriptions from local populations are remarkably consistent across vast distances. Whether it is a misunderstood species of snake, a new type of electric eel that has adapted to the sand, or a biological myth, the death worm remains a shadow in one of the most inhospitable places on Earth. The mystery of the Neanderthal flower burial. In a cave in Iraq, archaeologists found the remains of a Neanderthal man buried with a startling discovery. The soil around him was packed with the pollen of ancient medicinal flowers like yarrow and cornflower. For a long time, this was seen as proof that Neanderthals were not brutes, but beings who practiced ritual, mourning, and herbal medicine. Recently, some have argued that the pollen was simply carried in by burrowing rodents. This debate touches on the deepest mystery of our origins. When did the human soul, the capacity for beauty, grief, and ceremony, actually begin? Was it unique to us, or did we share it with our lost cousins? The Belmez faces. In 1971, a woman in a small Spanish village noticed a strange stain forming on her kitchen floor. Within days, the stain transformed into a clear, mournful human face. Her husband destroyed the floor and replaced it with concrete, but the face returned, and then more faces appeared, changing expressions and moving across the floor over several years. Paranormal researchers claimed the images were thoughtography, shapes created by the subconscious mind of the homeowner. Skeptics looked for chemicals or paint, but found no clear evidence of fraud. The faces of Belmez remain etched in the stone, a visual echo of a mystery that science cannot wash away. The Blue Men of the Minch. In the waters between the Outer Hebrides and the mainland of Scotland, sailors have for centuries feared the Blue Men. Described as blue-skinned humanoids who live in underwater caves, they are said to rise from the waves to challenge ship captains to rhyming contests or riddles. If the captain fails, the Blue Men sink the ship. While modern science points to seals or the blue tint of porpoises, the legend persists because of the specific, localized nature of the sightings. They represent the personification of the sea's unpredictable danger, a mystery of the deep that wears a human face. The hum of the sun. We think of space as a vacuum where sound cannot travel, but the sun is anything but silent. By using specialized instruments to measure the vibrations of the sun's surface, scientists have translated the solar rhythm into sound. It is a deep, low-frequency thrumming, a cosmic OM, that resonates through the entire solar system. The mystery is how these vibrations interact with the Earth's own magnetic field and whether this solar music has a subtle, unrecognized effect on our own biological rhythms. We are living inside the song of a star, a constant vibration that we are only just beginning to hear. The language of the trees. Beneath the floor of every forest lies a complex social network made of fungi, often called the Wood Wide Web. Through these threads, trees talk to one another. They share nutrients with dying neighbors, warn each other of incoming insect attacks, and even recognize their own offspring. But the mystery is the intelligence behind it. There is no central brain, yet the forest makes collective decisions about survival and resource management. We are discovering that a forest is not a collection of individual trees, but a single, massive, thinking organism that operates on a timescale far slower and more profound than our own. As the clock ticks toward the quietest part of the night, the world around you has become a sanctuary of silence. But in that silence, if you listen closely, the universe is still whispering. We have looked at the life of the stars and the secrets of the earth, but now we move toward the things that seem to exist between the cracks of our reality, events and objects that act as glitches in the story of time. Let your mind become like a mirror, calm and clear, as we explore the next 10 mysteries. The Baltic Sea Anomaly. In 2011, a team of deep-sea explorers searching for shipwrecks in the Baltic Sea discovered a massive, circular object resting on the seabed. It was 60 meters in diameter and featured what looked like ramps, staircases, and a long, scorched runway stretching across the ocean floor. When divers approached the object, their electronic equipment, including satellite phones and cameras, inexplicably cut out, only to function again once they moved a certain distance away. While geologists suggest it could be a unique glacial deposit, its perfect geometric shape and its strange effect on technology have led many to wonder if it is a relic of a lost era, or something that fell from the sky long before the sea was even there. The mystery of the Shroud of Turin. For centuries, a simple linen cloth bearing the faint, negative image of a man has been one of the most studied artifacts in human history. The mystery is not just whose image it is, but how it was made. The image is only a few fibers deep. It wasn't painted, dyed, or printed. Modern science has found that the image contains three-dimensional information that cannot be replicated by any known medieval or modern artistic technique. Some physicists have theorized that the image was created by a sudden, intense burst of radiation, a flash of light so powerful it scorched the linen at a molecular level. We have the object, but the technology that created it remains beyond our grasp. The Lake Anjikuni disappearance. In the winter of 1930, a fur trapper arrived at an Inuit village on the shores of Lake Anjikuni in Canada, only to find it completely deserted. The mystery was the way the villagers had left. Pots of stew were still hanging over cold fires. Sealskin garments were half-finished with needles still in them, and the village's sled dogs were found tied to trees, having perished from hunger. There were no signs of a struggle and no tracks leading away from the village in the fresh snow. It was as if an entire community of men, women, and children had simply been plucked from the earth in a single moment, leaving their lives frozen in mid-beat. The loneliest tree in the world. For decades, the tree of Tenera was considered the most isolated tree on Earth, an acacia standing alone in the Sahara Desert, with no other tree for over 400 kilometers in any direction. The mystery was how it survived. When a well was dug nearby, it was discovered that the tree's roots had traveled 35 meters down through the burning sand to reach a hidden underground water table. It was a living testament to the sheer will of nature. Sadly, the tree was knocked down by a truck in 1973, but the mystery of how a single seed found the one spot in a vast, shifting ocean of sand where life was possible remains a miracle of chance. The San Luis Valley cattle mutilations. Since the 1960s, ranchers in Colorado's San Luis Valley have reported a series of strange occurrences involving their livestock. Cattle are found dead with surgical precision, organs removed with clean, bloodless cuts that appear to have been made with high-heat lasers. Most chillingly, the surrounding ground shows no footprints, no struggle, and even scavengers like coyotes and vultures refuse to go near the carcasses. Despite thousands of reports and investigations by local authorities and the FBI, no one has ever been caught, and no technology exists that could explain how such procedures are performed in total silence in the middle of a dark, open field. The moving coffins of the Chase Vault. On the island of Barbados, a heavy stone burial vault became the site of a recurring nightmare in the early 19th century. Every time the vault was opened to admit a new family member, the heavy lead coffins inside were found tossed about in total chaos, despite the vault being sealed with a massive stone door that required several men to move. Sand was scattered on the floor to catch footprints, but none were ever found. There was no evidence of flooding or earthquakes. The governor of Barbados eventually oversaw a sealing of the vault himself, only to find the coffins displaced once more months later. To this day, the vault stands empty, its mystery never solved. The WOW! Signals mirror. The Earth Echo. In the early 1950s, before any man-made satellites were in orbit, several astronomers reported seeing flashing lights or echoes in the high atmosphere that seemed to follow the Earth's rotation. Some suggested these were small natural moons, but they appeared and disappeared too suddenly. This led to the theory of shadow satellites, objects that are parked in a stable orbit, perhaps monitoring the Earth for thousands of years. We call this the Black Knight mystery. While many photos have been debunked as space debris or thermal blankets, the persistent idea that something is watching us from the quiet dark of orbit continues to haunt our exploration of the stars. The mystery of the 10th planet. Beyond the orbit of Neptune and the icy rocks of the Kuiper Belt, there is a gravitational tug that science cannot explain. The orbits of distant extreme objects are clustered together in a way that suggests a massive, unseen planet, often called Planet 9, is lurking in the outer reaches of our solar system. It would be 10 times the mass of Earth and take 20,000 years to complete one orbit. We haven't seen it because it is so far away and reflects so little light, but its shadow is written in the movement of everything else. It is a ghost planet, a titan hidden in the dark, waiting for our eyes to catch up with its gravity. The Voynich manuscript's map of the stars. Within the pages of the Voynich manuscript is a circular diagram that many believe is a map of a galaxy. It features a spiral structure with a dense center, similar to how the Andromeda Galaxy looks through a modern telescope. However, the manuscript was written hundreds of years before the telescope was even invented. How could a medieval author know the spiral nature of a galaxy or depict star clusters that are invisible to the naked eye? It implies a source of knowledge, either through ancient lost technology or a different way of seeing, that our current history of science does not allow. The hummingbird's heartbeat. The hummingbird is a biological anomaly. Its heart beats up to 1,200 times per minute, and its wings flap so fast they become a blur. To sustain this, it must consume more than its body weight in nectar every day. The mystery is how its metabolism doesn't simply burn the bird from the inside out. At night, to survive, the hummingbird enters a state of torpor, where its body temperature drops and its heart rate slows to a crawl, effectively dying for a few hours to save energy. This daily transition between extreme life and a death-like sleep is a mystery of resilience, a tiny bird holding the secret of how to master the fire of life. As the world outside continues its slow rotation, we find ourselves in the deepest part of the night. This is the hour when the line between what is possible and what is impossible begins to blur, and the mind is free to wander into the great unknown. You are safe in the stillness, a passenger on a journey through the riddles that the universe has yet to solve. Let your body feel as light as starlight as we drift into the next 10 mysteries. The unsolved mystery of the humidas. In the isolated mountains of South America, explorers have documented a phenomenon known as the humidas. It is a sound, a deep, resonant vibration that seems to come from the earth itself rather than the air. Unlike other hums, the humidas has been described as having a rhythmic, almost biological quality, like a massive heart beating miles beneath the crust. Locals believe the mountains themselves are alive, pulsing with a slow, ancient energy. Geologists have found no seismic activity that matches the rhythm, leaving us with a haunting question. Is there a form of geological life or energy that operates on a timescale of millions of years, moving so slowly we can only hear its heartbeat? The green flash of the setting sun. Just as the sun disappears beneath the horizon over a flat ocean, a brilliant, emerald green flash sometimes flickers for a fraction of a second. For centuries, sailors were ridiculed for reporting it, dismissed as being sea-drunk or hallucinating. We now know the flash is real, a result of the atmosphere acting like a prism, bending the sun's light. But the mystery lies in the blue flash. Mathematically, a blue or violet flash should follow the green one, yet it is almost never seen. There is a missing piece in our understanding of how light interacts with the atmosphere's deepest layers, a tiny shard of the spectrum that seems to vanish into the sea. The mystery of the stone forests. In various parts of the world, from China to Madagascar, there are forests made entirely of razor-sharp limestone needles, some reaching hundreds of feet into the air. While they are classified as karst formations, the sheer mathematical precision of these stone spires is baffling. In the Tsingy de Bemaraha of Madagascar, the structures are so dense and sharp they are impassable to most life. Yet a specific species of lemur lives there, jumping across the blades with impossible grace. How these ecosystems developed in a landscape of knives, and why the earth chose to sculpt stone into the likeness of a frozen, gray forest, is a mystery of geological art. The loneliness of the coelacanth. For millions of years, the coelacanth was thought to be extinct, a missing link that disappeared with the dinosaurs 65 million years ago. Then, in 1938, one was pulled from the waters off the coast of South Africa, alive and unchanged. This Lazarus fish is a biological time traveler. The mystery is how a creature could survive for such a vast stretch of time without evolving or being wiped out by the planet's many mass extinctions. It possesses a hinge in its skull and limb-like fins that suggest it was once ready to walk onto land, but it chose the deep instead. It remains a silent witness to an era we will never know. The dancing lights of Brown Mountain. In the North Carolina wilderness, a series of lights has been observed rising above the ridges of Brown Mountain for over 100 years. They are not like the northern lights. They are small, distinct globes that appear to be searching the forest floor. The U.S. Geological Survey conducted studies in the 1920s and blamed car headlights, but the lights were being reported by Cherokee hunters and early settlers long before the invention of the automobile or electricity. They remain a localized mystery, a fire in the sky that consumes no fuel and leaves no ash. The mystery of the man in the iron mask. In the late 17th century, a prisoner was held in the Bastille under the strictest secrecy. His face covered at all times by a mask of black velvet, later rumored to be iron. He was treated with the utmost respect but was forbidden from speaking to anyone. When he died, all his possessions were destroyed and his room was scraped clean. Historians have debated his identity for centuries. Was he the twin brother of King Louis XIV? A disgraced general? A son of Oliver Cromwell? The mystery is not just who he was, but why his identity was considered a weapon so dangerous that it had to be erased from the world. The Gravity Hills. In various locations around the world, from Scotland to Pennsylvania, there are stretches of road where the laws of physics appear to break. If you stop your car at the bottom of the hill and put it in neutral, the car will begin to roll upward, gaining speed as it climbs the slope. While skeptics call it an optical illusion caused by the horizon line, people have poured water on the road only to watch it flow uphill against the tug of the planet. These gravity hills remain a playful nudge from the universe, reminding us that our eyes and our gravity are not always in agreement. The secret of the Roman dodecahedrons. Archaeologists have found over 100 small, hollow objects made of bronze or stone across the former Roman Empire. They are 12-sided, with a hole of a different size in each face and small knobs on every corner. There is no mention of them in any Roman text. Were they measuring instruments, dice for a forgotten game, knitting tools for gloves, or perhaps religious artifacts for a cult whose beliefs were never written down? They are a silent technology, objects that clearly had a precise purpose, yet we have lost the vocabulary to understand what that purpose was. The shadow of the moon's far side. Because the moon is tidally locked to the Earth, we only ever see one side of it. For all of human history, the far side was a complete mystery until the Soviet Luna 3 probe photographed it in 1959. What it revealed was a shock. The far side looks nothing like the side we see. It has almost no Maria, the dark, flat volcanic plains, and is instead a chaotic, battered landscape of craters and mountains. Science still struggles to explain this hemispheric asymmetry. Why is one side of the moon a smooth mirror and the other a rugged shield? It is as if the moon is hiding its true face from us on purpose. The mystery of the 100th monkey. In the 1950s, scientists studying Japanese macaques on the island of Koshima observed a young monkey learn to wash sweet potatoes in the sea to remove sand. Soon, her mother and playmates learned the trick. But the 100th monkey phenomenon describes the moment the knowledge supposedly reached a critical mass. It is claimed that once a certain number of monkeys on the island learned the behavior, monkeys on other islands, with no physical contact, suddenly began washing their potatoes too. While the story is debated, it touches on the mystery of morphic resonance. The idea that once a certain amount of life learns a truth, it becomes part of a collective field that the rest of life can access through the air. As the night turns toward its final chapters, the air feels thin and expectant, as if the universe is preparing to reveal its most guarded truths. We have wandered through ancient ruins and across the frozen plains of space. But the journey into the unknown is far from over. Here, in the safety of your dreams, the impossible is simply a challenge we haven't yet met. Let your mind drift like a cloud in the moonlight as we explore the next 10 mysteries. The mystery of the Atacama Giant. In the Atacama Desert of Chile, a massive figure is etched into the side of a hill, stretching nearly 120 meters from head to toe. Known as the Atacama Giant, it is the largest prehistoric anthropomorphic figure in the world. It features a strange, square head with radiating spikes and long, robotic-looking limbs. While archaeologists suggest it was an early astronomical calendar used to track the moon, its appearance is so alien to any other human depiction of the time that it remains a haunting riddle. It stands in one of the driest places on Earth, staring up at the stars for over 1,000 years, a silent sentinel waiting for a sky that never changes. The Taured Mystery. In 1954, a man reportedly arrived at Haneda Airport in Tokyo. When asked for his passport, he produced a perfectly legal-looking document from a country called Taured. When the officials told him Taured didn't exist, the man became angry, pointing to a map and claiming his country was located between France and Spain, in the region we know as Andorra. He claimed his country had existed for 1,000 years. The man was detained in a high-security hotel room while the mystery was investigated, but by morning, he had vanished from the locked room without a trace. Whether a sophisticated hoax or a glimpse into a parallel world, the man from Taured remains a ghost in the history of travel. The secret of the long-lived shark. In the cold, dark waters of the North Atlantic, the Greenland shark moves at a pace so slow it is almost stationary. It grows only about 1 centimeter a year. Scientists recently discovered that these sharks can live for over 400 years, with some individuals alive today having been born before the arrival of the Pilgrims in America. The mystery lies in their biology. They show almost no signs of aging, no cancer, and no cellular decay. They are living fossils whose hearts beat once every few seconds. How an animal can master the art of time so completely, living through centuries of human history in a single quiet life, is a secret tucked away in the ice. The Marie Man. In 1998, a pilot flying over a remote plateau in South Australia looked down and saw a massive figure of an indigenous hunter etched into the desert floor. It was 4 kilometers long. The mystery is that no one knows who made it. There were no tire tracks, no footprints, and no reports of any activity in the area. The Marie Man is so large it can only be seen from space. Yet it was created with such precision that it appears to have been drawn with a single giant pen. Despite various theories involving the American military or eccentric artists, the creator has never come forward, leaving the giant to fade slowly back into the dust. The mystery of the sleeping sickness. Between 1915 and 1926, a mysterious epidemic known as encephalitis lethargica swept across the globe. Millions of people were affected. Some died, but many others were left in a state of living sleep, conscious but unable to move or speak, sometimes for decades. Then, as suddenly as it appeared, the disease vanished. We still don't know what caused it or where it went. It remains one of the greatest medical mysteries of the 20th century. A silent thief that stole the lives of millions and then retreated into the shadows of history, leaving no trace for modern science to follow. The Star of Bethlehem. For 2,000 years, historians and astronomers have tried to explain the star that reportedly led the Magi to a specific stable. Some suggest it was a supernova, while others point to a rare triple conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. But the description in the texts is strange. The star is said to have moved, stopped, and hovered over a single house. No natural celestial body behaves this way. This has led to theories of a celestial phenomenon that was not a star at all, but something far more localized and deliberate. The identity of the light that changed history remains a beautiful, shimmering question mark in the night sky. The mystery of the Voynich pipes. Deep within the illustrations of the Voynich manuscript are complex networks of green pipes and tubes, connecting strange, circular basins filled with figures. Some botanists think they represent the internal structure of plants, while others believe they are primitive alchemical equipment for distilling the essence of life. However, the plumbing depicted is far more advanced than anything known in the 15th century. It looks like a map of a biological factory, a system of life support or energy transfer that suggests the author was looking at a world through a lens or a mind that we have yet to understand. The loneliness of the Saturnian hexagon. At the north pole of the planet Saturn, there is a permanent cloud pattern that forms a perfect, massive hexagon. Each side of the hexagon is wider than the Earth itself. While scientists have recreated similar shapes in laboratories using spinning fluids, the sheer scale and persistence of the Saturnian hexagon is baffling. It has remained stable for decades, a geometric fortress in a world of swirling gas. Why nature would choose such a rigid, mathematical shape for a storm on a planetary scale is a mystery of fluid dynamics that makes the universe feel more like a grand design than a chaotic accident. The mystery of the immortal cells. In 1951, a woman named Henrietta Lacks had a sample of her cells taken during a medical procedure. Unlike all other human cells, which die after a certain number of divisions, Henrietta's cells, known as HeLa cells, never stopped growing. They have been used in almost every major medical breakthrough of the last century, from the polio vaccine to gene mapping. Today, there are more of Henrietta's cells alive in laboratories than there ever were in her own body. The mystery is why her cells specifically broke the laws of mortality, becoming a global, immortal biological force that continues to live long after she has returned to the Earth. The black hole at the center of the brain. We often look at the vastness of the universe as the ultimate mystery, but the human brain may be just as complex. Every thought, memory, and feeling you have is the result of billions of neurons firing in a coordinated dance. Yet, no one can explain how matter becomes consciousness. How does a chemical reaction in a piece of tissue become the feeling of love, the memory of a summer day, or the awareness of your own existence? This is the hard problem of consciousness. It is the final mystery, that the tool we use to understand the universe is the one thing we understand the least. As the night reaches its deepest stillness, the boundary between the physical world and the realm of dreams becomes almost transparent. We have traveled through time, across galaxies, and into the very cells of our own bodies. Yet the map of the unknown still has vast, empty spaces. Here, in the quiet sanctuary of your rest, we lean into the final mysteries, the ones that sit at the very edge of what the human mind can grasp. Let your breathing be slow and rhythmic, like the tides of a distant, hidden sea, as we explore the next 10 mysteries. The mystery of the Coral Castle. In the early 20th century, a man named Edward Leedskalnin spent 20 years building a massive stone structure in Florida known as Coral Castle. Working entirely alone and mostly at night, he moved and sculpted over 1,100 tons of coral rock. He had no heavy machinery, yet he moved blocks weighing up to 30 tons with such precision that no light passes through the joints. When asked how he did it, Edward simply claimed he had discovered the secrets of the pyramids and knew how to manipulate gravity. After his death, no tools were found that could explain his feat. He left behind a fortress of stone that suggests the strength of a single man might be far greater than physics allows. The Devil's Kettle Falls. In Minnesota's Judge C.R. Magny State Park, a river splits in two at the top of a waterfall. One half of the river flows over the edge normally, but the other half disappears into a massive pothole known as the Devil's Kettle. For decades, researchers and curious travelers have dropped everything from GPS trackers and colored dyes to thousands of ping-pong balls into the hole to see where the water goes. To this day, not a single item has ever been found, and the dyes never appear in Lake Superior or any nearby outlet. It is as if a significant portion of the river simply vanishes into a void, defying the geological maps of the Earth. The secret of the Roman concrete. The concrete used by the ancient Romans to build the Pantheon and the Colosseum has survived for 2,000 years, often submerged in corrosive seawater, while modern concrete begins to crumble within decades. For centuries, the recipe was a mystery. Scientists recently discovered that the Romans used volcanic ash and a process called hot mixing, which allows the concrete to actually heal itself. When a crack forms, water reacts with clasts of lime to fill the gap. How an ancient civilization developed a material that grows stronger with age, while our modern technology struggles to match it, remains a testament to a lost peak of human ingenuity. The mystery of the 1420 MHz silence. In the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, scientists focus on the 1420 MHz frequency, the hydrogen line, because it is the most universal frequency in the cosmos. But there is a localized mystery. Certain patches of the sky, known as great voids, show an absolute, unnatural silence at this frequency. It is as if something is dampening the very vibration of hydrogen in those regions. Some theorists suggest these voids aren't empty space at all, but cloaked regions or vast megastructures that absorb all outbound radiation. We are looking into a darkness that is far too quiet to be natural. The dancing forest of Kaliningrad. In a small patch of pine forest on the Curonian Spit in Russia, the trees do not grow straight. Instead, they twist, loop, and crawl across the ground in bizarre, contorted shapes as if they were frozen in the middle of a frantic dance. Unlike other crooked forests where wind or snow is the clear cause, the trees here grow in a sheltered area where the surrounding forest is perfectly straight. Theories range from unstable soil to a specific type of caterpillar that damages the leading shoots, but the dancing forest remains a localized biological glitch, a place where the rules of upward growth seem to have been forgotten. The mystery of the third mind. In mountaineering and extreme survival, there is a recurring report known as the third man factor. Explorers at the limit of their endurance, starving, freezing, or lost, often report a sudden, distinct presence of an unseen companion who encourages them, gives them directions, or helps them stay awake. This presence is so vivid that survivors often try to share their food with it, while psychologists suggest it is a coping mechanism of a stressed brain. The consistency of the advice given by this ghostly guide is startling. It suggests that deep within our survival instincts, there is a hidden reserve of consciousness that only appears when the self is about to vanish. The Oak Island Stone Cipher. Deep within the layers of the Oak Island money pit, a stone slab was found inscribed with symbols that remained unread for generations. When finally translated using a simple substitution cipher, it reportedly read, 40 feet below, 2 million pounds lie buried. But the mystery didn't end there. The 2 million pounds has never been found, leading some to believe the cipher was a decoy, or that the weight didn't refer to money at all, but to a geological pressure or a volume of water. The stone itself has since gone missing, leaving us with a translation of a message that might have been a warning rather than a map. The loneliness of the North Sentinelese. On a small island in the Indian Ocean lives a tribe that has remained completely isolated from the rest of the world for at least 30,000 years. They have survived the rise and fall of every empire, the Industrial Revolution, and the space age without ever making contact. They speak a language that no one else on Earth understands and have no knowledge of firemaking or agriculture, yet they are incredibly healthy and resilient. The mystery is how they have maintained a stable population and genetic health for 30 millennia in total isolation. They are a living window into the prehistoric human past, a piece of our story that chose to stay behind. The mystery of the Green Children's language. When the Green Children of Woolpit were found in the 12th century, they initially refused all food except raw beans. Once they learned English, they described their home as a place where the sun never shone and everything was a permanent, twilight green. Linguists have tried to reconstruct the language they first spoke based on the few words recorded by medieval monks, but it matches no known root, neither Celtic, nor Norse, nor Flemish. It remains a linguistic outlier, a series of sounds that came from a land that, according to our maps, does not exist. The final mystery, the edge of the universe. We know that the universe is expanding, and it is doing so at an accelerating rate. But what is it expanding into? If you could travel to the very edge of the cosmos, what would you see? Some scientists suggest the universe is finite but unbounded, like the surface of a sphere where you can travel forever but never find an end. Others suggest we are just one bubble in a multiverse of infinite bubbles. The mystery of what lies beyond the furthest light we can see is the ultimate horizon. It is the wall of our reality, the point where science ends and the eternal why begins. The house is silent now, and the world outside has settled into that deep, heavy stillness that only comes in the final hours before the sun begins to stir. We have wandered through the history of the earth and the reaches of the stars, finding that for every door we open, there are 3 more that remain locked. As you sink deeper into your pillows, let your mind feel like a vessel drifting on a quiet, endless lake. Here are the next 10 mysteries. The mystery of the Gackle Ridge noises. Deep beneath the Arctic ice cap lies the Gackle Ridge, the slowest spreading mid-ocean ridge on Earth. In the early 2000s, seismologists placed hydrophones in the freezing depths and captured sounds that they could not identify. They weren't the groans of tectonic plates or the songs of whales. They were sharp, rhythmic pulses, metallic and deliberate, that echoed through the deep water for days. Some suggested underwater volcanic activity, but the clanking nature of the noise was unlike any known eruption. It remains a cold, mechanical-sounding ghost from the bottom of the world, where the pressure is enough to crush a submarine. Yet something is making itself heard. The fairy circles of Namibia. Across the red sands of the Namib Desert, millions of circular patches of bare earth pockmark the landscape. These fairy circles are perfectly round, ranging from 2 to 15 meters in diameter, and are fringed by a ring of tall, lush grass. Inside the circle, nothing grows. For years, scientists debated whether they were caused by termites or competing plant roots. However, recent satellite data found identical circles in the Australian outback, where neither theory fits. Local legends say they are the footprints of gods. Science sees a pattern so precise it looks engineered, yet it cannot find the architect behind the desert's polka-dot skin. The secret of the Siberian crates. In 2014, helicopter pilots flying over the Yamal Peninsula, a name that translates to the end of the world, discovered a massive, yawning crater that hadn't been there weeks before. It was 80 meters wide and seemed to have been formed by an explosion from the inside out, with debris scattered around the rim. Since then, dozens more have appeared. While the leading theory is that melting permafrost is releasing pressurized methane gas, the sheer speed and violent precision with which these holes appear is unsettling. They are the Earth's own vents, releasing ancient breath that has been trapped for tens of thousands of years. The loneliness of the Oumuamua Voyager. In 2017, the first interstellar object ever detected passed through our solar system. Named Oumuamua, Hawaiian for scout, it was a long, cigar-shaped object that didn't behave like a comet or an asteroid. It had no tail of gas, yet it accelerated as it moved away from the sun, as if pushed by an unseen force. Its surface was unusually reflective, and its tumbling motion was strange. Some astronomers, including the chair of Harvard's astronomy department, suggested it might be a discarded solar sail from an alien civilization. We only saw it for a few weeks before it vanished back into the interstellar dark. A traveler that didn't stop to say hello. The mystery of the Mapamai meteorites. The zone of silence in Mexico isn't just known for its radio dead spots. It is also a magnet for falling stars. This small patch of desert has an statistically impossible rate of meteorite strikes. In 1969, the massive Allende meteorite, the most studied space rock in history, fell directly into the zone. It contains pre-solar grains that are older than our entire solar system. Why this specific, magnetically strange patch of Earth acts as a cosmic target remains a mystery. It is as if the desert is calling out to the debris of the universe, gathering pieces of the deep past into its silent sands. The Paulding Light. In a remote forest in Michigan's Upper Peninsula, a mysterious light appears every night at the end of a valley. It starts as a faint white glow that grows in intensity, often changing to red or green, before slowly fading away. It has been observed since the 1960s. While college students with telescopes once claimed it was the reflection of car headlights from a distant highway, locals and engineers point out that the light was being reported decades before the highway was built, and it appears even on nights when the road is closed by snow. It remains a flickering, nocturnal sentinel, a fire that never goes out. The secret of the Voynich zodiac. In the middle of the Voynich manuscript is a series of circular diagrams that look like a traditional zodiac. But the stars depicted do not match the constellations we know. Some suggest they represent the night sky as seen from another part of the world, or another time entirely. Others have pointed out that the sun in the center of these diagrams has a face that looks distinctly non-human. If it is a map of the stars, it is a map of a sky we do not recognize, drawn by someone who was looking at a different heaven than the one we sleep under tonight. The mystery of the coincidence. One of the most profound mysteries in science is the fine-tuning of the universe. If the strength of gravity were just a fraction stronger or weaker, stars would never have formed. If the charge of an electron were slightly different, atoms would fly apart. Everything in the cosmos seems to be tuned to a razor's edge to allow for life. Scientists call this the anthropic principle. Is it a massive 1 in a trillion coincidence? Or is our universe just one of an infinite number, and we happen to be in the one where the numbers worked out? The why behind the math is a question that makes even the most rigid logic feel like a prayer. The longevity of the Pando clone. In the mountains of Utah, there is a forest of 47,000 quaking aspen trees. But it isn't a forest. It is a single organism. Every tree is genetically identical and connected by a massive underground root system. Named Pando, it is one of the oldest and largest living things on Earth, estimated to be at least 80,000 years old. The mystery is how it has survived through dozens of climate shifts and ice ages, essentially cloning itself over and over to achieve a form of collective immortality. It is a single mind made of wood and leaves, a 100-acre consciousness that was alive long before the first human city was built. The mystery of the sleeping prophet. In the early 20th century, a man named Edgar Cayce discovered that he could enter a deep, sleep-like trance. While in this state, he could accurately diagnose medical conditions in people he had never met, thousands of miles away, and predict historical events with startling accuracy. He claimed that while asleep, he had access to a universal library of information called the Akashic Records. Science cannot explain how a man with a limited education could speak in complex medical jargon and see the future while unconscious. He remains a bridge between the world of sleep and the world of knowing, a mystery that suggests that when we close our eyes, we might be opening a door. As the first pale light of dawn begins to brush against the edges of the world, we leave these mysteries where we found them, tucked away in the quiet corners of the universe, waiting for the day we are wise enough to understand. There is a profound comfort in knowing that despite all our maps and our monuments, the world remains vast, wild, and thick with secrets that refuse to be tamed. Let the weight of these wonders settle into your mind like starlight on still water, carrying you into a deep, restorative rest where the impossible is simply a place you haven't visited yet. You are part of this great, unfolding enigma, and for tonight, that is more than enough. Sleep well, dream of the unknown, and good night.